Hi, I'm Ellen McCauley in Syracuse, New York. Now, we started Pray It Off in January of 2008. This is session 11, and every session is 6 months. So many of you might wonder, why is tonight's topic Weight Loss 101? For many people who come to a program, they're either fully committed, or they were fully committed and then they've fallen off the side of the road. Or they were committed, they lost the weight, they're keeping it off. They're stars. That's hard to do. Or you are relatively new or never quite bought into it about making a lifetime commitment. Not just of coming to the meeting, but of weight loss and keeping it off. One of the things, and this is an excellent article, we're going to talk about it in sections, people who go on a diet means that eventually they'll probably go off the diet. When you lose weight, do you often find the weight? So what we are trying to wrap our heads around here is eating less, moving more, asking God to help. And one person said that, you know, it's like, how does your body feel? How does your soul feel when you come to Pray It Off? Because what we try to do here is look at the whole person and our relationship with God so that we can strengthen that relationship so that we can better take care of the temples of our Holy Spirit. The first thing they talk about here, though, is misconceptions about dieting. If I skip breakfast or lunch, I will lose weight faster. Here's what happens. You have a Mother's Day get-together, and you're having the cake and the ice cream and whatever else they gave you for Mother's Day. And then it's Monday, and you're like, oh my gosh, Thursday's going to be here. I got to weigh in. I won't eat anything all day long. I won't eat breakfast. I won't eat lunch. And then by the time 3 o'clock rolls around, you're like, I need a Snickers. I need something. Our bodies aren't prepared to have that kind of starvation. We need to have our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because when we skip a meal, we lower our metabolic rate. Here's one that's huge for this group. As long as the food is fat-free, I can eat as much of it as I want to without gaining weight. There are people who are eating beautifully, veggies, protein, very less carbs, but every space on the sheet and some of the back is filled in because they're eating so much of the good food or the fat-free food. A calorie is still a calorie. If you eat too many calories, whether it's from an apple or whether it's from a cookie, if you eat more than your body will burn up, you will gain weight. Also, so many of these fat-free foods they remove the fat and they add sugar. There's still stuff in it. Look at the calories. On Mother's Day, I had to get some ice out of my mom's freezer, and she never watches the blog. So doesn't she have these Marie calendars, like frozen dinners, and they look really good. I'm like, wow, these look kind of good. Pulled around, looked at the back. 2 servings. Each serving's 500 calories.
Wow.
Yeah. And 1,900 milligrams of sodium. And I'm thinking she's 79. Do I want to go in there and say, did you read the back, Mom? And then she'd say, you ruined my Mother's Day. So I kept my mouth shut. I'm finally learning how to do that. But we need to read the boxes. I want to lose weight, but unless I lose it fast and see results right away, I know I won't stick with the program. This is not a program. Pray It Off is not a program. People call it different things. They call it class. I won't be there for class tonight. And some people say, I won't be there for PIO, or I won't be there for St. P.O. Everyone calls it something different, but it is not a diet program. People say, what do you eat? And I go, well, we eat less, move more, and ask God to help. Diet programs do not work. And if you think it's going to be fast, more than a pound or 2 a week, or even more than a pound or 2 a year for some of us, We are in it for the long haul. And then there's people who say, my social life is too big. I go out to parties, I go out to dinner. I want to lose weight, but I don't want to give up my food. Okay, I understand that. You can want something desperately, but unless you take some action, nothing's going to happen. You can eat out as long as you don't see it as a treat. If every time you eat out, you go, well, I'm having the fettuccine alfredo with garlic bread and a sundae because I'm out. I'm eating out. And every time you go to Bunko, and isn't all Bunko is an excuse to eat? All right, you throw a couple of dice. Oh, here's the dice. Who cares? What did they get? And then you rate the other Bunko people's spread. You know, the Bunko spread. I did Bunko for years and years and years. And it's like you had to compete. Oh, they had that BJ's cheesecake with all the different things. So I got to have something really, really good. If you play Bunko more than once a week, it's going to be kind of hard to lose weight unless you don't see every Bunko game as a treat. You say, you know what? I'm going to have a little of this and a little of that. You have to make decisions. Then it says, I know the best way to lose my flabby stomach and thighs is to do sit-ups and leg lifts. This says brisk walking or dancing is just as good as doing 100 sit-ups, but you got to do it for 20 minutes. All right, and some people, no one ever told me here they go to the sauna. I mean, don't raise your hand, but I'm not a big sauna person, just like I'm not a big tanning booth person. One time someone convinced me to go into one of those tanning beds. They closed the lid. And I laid there for like 1 second. I'm like, get me out of here! I don't want to be in here! I don't care what I look like. I'm Irish, I have freckles, I don't care. And then the same thing holds true of a sauna. You know, one time I went to this swanky hotel for a business trip and everyone was in the sauna. I got in there and my first response was this. It's really hot in here. It's hot. I didn't like it. I thought, all of a sudden, I can't breathe. I was in there maybe 2 minutes. Get me out of there. So don't put me in a sauna. Don't put me in a tanning bed. And if you think you're going to go in a sauna and sweat the pounds off, it ain't going to happen. At least not permanently. I will only feel successful if I reach my target weight. I got to wrap my head around this. I had a target weight in mind, and every week I feel like a failure because that target weight is like over there. I'm like, why can't I get there? I have to wrap my head that I don't weigh 370. I don't weigh 370. That is a victory. We need to sometimes change our target weight. One person was saying about how they weighed like 100 pounds when they got married, and they're like a little bit older now. Don't have 100 pounds be your target weight. Also, don't forget that all physical activity helps. One person said, I was so good, I exercised this week and I didn't lose any weight, so why should I bother exercising next week? Exercise in and of itself is good for our bodies. It's good for our heart rate. It's good for everything. It's not just exercise and lose weight. Because believe it or not, there's people who do those mountain goat runs. They're not fat. They're not saying, I better exercise to lose weight. They're exercising because it's good for their body. Here's another one. I just don't have the willpower it takes to lose weight and keep it off for good. And I'm a firm believer that willpower really doesn't work. It's training. One of the newer people, when they came in, they said, you know, I've been doing this a few weeks. I don't want food as much as I did when I joined. You train yourself. Training. Remember the Dijonnaise, glug, glug, glug? I don't want mayonnaise. You think the 370 Ellen didn't have mayonnaise sandwiches with like a little bread on it? I had mayonnaise. You train yourself. Also your body image. I love what it says here. It has mirrors. Spend time looking in a full-length or three-way mirror, preferably without clothes. Are you kidding me? Like, I want to look at that? I don't want to look at that. Are you crazy? You know, I'm supposed to go, oh, there's my naked body. Yeah. Woo. I'm like, there's a mirror, and I'm like, scoot, scoot, scoot. You know, I merely want to look in the mirror with my clothes on, you know. But There's something to be said about that, because if you, not me, but some of you, there are some of you who have lost 10, 15, 20 pounds, and I think you're probably at your goal weight, and you're beating yourself up. You're like, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that. Take a good look at yourself and say, do I have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, onset diabetes? No. Be happy where you are. Also, there's some questions you can ask. Like even tonight, I said to someone, you know, Bob moved a little closer to the blog, filming, and I looked at myself on the blog and I looked awful, and she said, no you don't, you look great. So that's what you need. When you think you look bad, ask someone who really loves you, and if they say you look like crap, you must look really bad. Okay, just remember that. Also, what would your body weight be if you look the image you'd prefer? I mean, is that going to happen? You got those magazines and you're flipping through them. Are you going to look like that? Maybe. I'm not. And then it says, have you ever been at your goal weight before? The goal weight that I set myself for, I weighed for 5 minutes in 1982. 5 minutes. And then I started going back up again. In 1982, I was 28 years old. 28! I'm 58! That's 30 years ago. Why should I wrap my head around that goal weight? So, we need to really reassess what we're talking about. Another thing is, let me see where I have my next blog, because I don't want to, maybe, I had a star by, I'm going to stop there, Bob.